Shabbos. This week we had a conference of rabbis in New South Wales, the Rabbinical Council of New South Wales, with Rabbi Yosef Rimon from Gush Etzion, Israel. He's the rabbi there. He also has many machons, and he's a great Torah scholar and incredible asset to the Jewish world. And he spoke to us about modern questions such as cultured meat made in the laboratory, as well as the issues of the day and how to view the mindset and the perspectives of our youth today and where we can take them based on that. One of the things he shared with us is that he feels very strongly that in areas of Torah, we have to find ways for people to learn, all kinds of people and all kinds of things that they should be learning. But when it comes to prayer, he said that the synagogue and the prayer service must remain true to its original intent. And if we change things or we modify, anyone who's done so throughout the generations have actually lost out at the end and become extinct. It's important to keep to our original prayer structure as the rabbis instituted. Now, prayer itself comes from the Torah. In this week's Torah portion, which is the second portion of Shema, it's in the second portion of Shema, where we say, so our sages tell us to serve him with all your heart. What's the service of the heart? That is prayer. So, prayer, we know, on the one hand, is a time of connection to God. As a matter of fact, the word tefillah means connection. As Chassidim, I grew up seeing elder Chassidim or younger Chassidim were serious about prayer, praying for hours upon hours, because it's a moment of developing your bond and connection to Hashem. You meditate and contemplate the greatness of Hashem. You come to knowledge of Hashem. You come to love and awe of Hashem. So prayer is a real time of bond and connection with God. On the other hand, if you look at the central prayer, which is the Amidah, the Shemona Esrei, most of it is requesting things that we need, physical things that we need, good health, parnasa, and really anything that we want, we put into our prayers and we ask Hashem for it. So which one is it? Is it bond the connection to Hashem, or is it asking for what we want? Now, when the quintessential prayer, the prayer that is lauded and seen as the prototype of prayer is what's called the prayer of Chana, and we read it on the Haftorah on the first day of Rosh Hashanah. Chana is a woman who lived in the time of the tabernacle of Shiloh, before the first temple was built, and she was married to a fellow Elkanah, and Elkanah was someone who really focused on getting people to come to Shiloh, to the Bet HaMikdash, to the tabernacle in Shiloh at the time. And he would bring people there, and he'd bring his wife, Chana, who had no children, and his other wife, Penina, who had 10 children. Penina was kind of a thorn in Chana's side, and she would constantly speak about how wise and clever and her achievements of her children, and kind of saying, and Chana has nothing. And it really pained Chana, the very fact that she had no children, plus this constant needling by the other wife. One year in Rosh Hashanah, Chana approaches the closest place she could go to in the temple, and she prays silently to Hashem for children. Eli is the high priest, and he sees her praying, and he thinks she's drunk, the prophet tells us. I think she's drunk. And he kind of admonishes her and says, why are you drunk? This is the house of God. She says to him, I'm not drunk. I'm a woman with a broken heart, and I'm pouring out my heart before God. What's going on here? Why do you think she's drunk? So the Rebbe explains that Eli didn't think she was literally drunk. What he's saying is, you're acting like a drunk. A drunk might be asking for the right thing, but in the wrong way and the wrong place. This is the house of God. Here you should be connecting to God, not asking for your personal needs. And Chana's response to him is, you got it wrong. You have it because asking Hashem for that which really bothers us, that's what prayer is all about. If prayer is connecting to God, then understanding that God is the address from whom we ask for everything that we need, that is the greatest connection. Just think about that. I have people ask, oh, why do you ask God for these trivial things? Small things. If I want to, if my children want a tablet or earpods or the newest phone, they should ask God for it. This is what you go to God for? Well, my answer is, you know what? Maybe you should work on yourself that you shouldn't want these trivial things. But if it's something you want, then you have to have a relationship with Hashem to such an extent that He is the address where you get what you want. It's like a child knows that the person closest to them, their father, their mother, they're the ones they ask for things that they want and need. And they might ask again and again because they know you care for them. And they know that it's real, that you're close to them. When we ask Hashem for what we need, we're basically saying that if it's important to me, it's important to Hashem. We know it is. He's the closest thing to me. It is the best way to express a bond and closeness to Hashem. So prayer, yes, is about connection to Hashem. But asking Hashem for what you need is connection to Him. Because if He is close to you, then He cares for what you want. And that's why we go to Him. So, yes, by all means, work on yourself that you shouldn't need trivial things. But if you're going to ask anybody, you ask Hashem first. I'll share something very personal. My son Peretz was at last year Rosh Hashanah by my son Yossi, who has a shul in Delray Beach, Florida. And Peretz says to Yossi, I want to do the Haftorah of Chana for my third son, Rabbi Mendy, who works with us here in Chabad North Shore. Mendy had a hard year. He had a difficult year health-wise. He had a difficult year. His wife, Chani, had a stillborn. They had a stillborn that year. And it was a hard time. And Peretz says, I want to pray to do Tfilas Chana, where Chana asks for her child for the sake of my brother. And my son Yossi tells me how he was quite emotional whilst he was reading this Haftorah. And shortly thereafter, literally the next opportunity, my daughter Chani became pregnant, and of course a few weeks ago we celebrated the bris of little Levi Yitzchak Shapiro, who was one of the elements was that these older brother Peretz prayed with such devotion and passion for his brother's sake on Rosh Hashanah. And his brother was blessed literally 9-10 months later with a blessing, a little boy. It tells us the power of prayer, the power of the prayer of Chana, the power of praying for each other. That is the message here. There's an address for each and every one of us, and that is Hashem, and He will fulfill our needs. Good Shabbos.